Welcome to Season 5 of Redesigning Your Relationships Podcast. As your host, Yvette Valdenegro
and Giovanna Burgess-White,
we bring you fresh perspectives, bold conversations, and transformative tools to elevate every connection in your life.
This year, we're embracing new year, new vibes with a refined focus on the trifecta of self, time, and money, guiding you to cultivate the relationships you desire and deserve. Each week, we'll unveil elevated insights designed to inspire, empower, and help you thrive in every facet of your life.
Welcome to Season 5. Let's begin this transformative journey together. Okay, I have to say this time, which I don't know if my response to our intro is ever going to change, but this time I'll say, I think the reason I love it is because it just reminds me of how much we've grown, and like we have an intro and an outro. And now I'm thinking, you know what? The next step is going to be, we're going to have even more, sponsors. Like, it's like just the evolution is like, I just love it. And you're like, just so you know, you're freezing a little bit, but I'm so
well. Look, because it's not a YGC show if my battery's about to die, so I got to go get that. Sponsored by Sambo, and we have already a glitch in technology. I mean, welcome to our show. I mean, if this is your first time, don't worry, it's like this all the time.
But we're real, we're raw, and you're gonna get the realness, which is why I love today's episode, because self-sabotage is a real thing. People are doing it all the time. We see it all the time. And sometimes I feel like, don't we just talk about these things over and over? Some of them, it's in a different way. But yes, obviously we talk about things because things are really happening, or this is how people really feel inside, which people may not say on the outside what they're really feeling, but we know that on the inside, there's a lot of struggles because we hear them. So self-love has become such a dynamic, amazing term. It has more life behind it. People are really capturing it. But we have discussed what self-love isn't, meaning like, yes, it's important if you want to do your nails and all that kind of stuff, but that's not quite the self-love that we're always talking about. But we also know that there's hidden forces out there that are trying their best to bring us down. And it's super important to be aware of these things, because this is what the top things. And by the way, this is all science-based and this is research-based. So these are the top 5 things that are really trying to sabotage us as women in particularly right now. Even though we're trying so hard to live in this self-love mind space, there's entities trying to come against us.
Okay, I'm gonna let you get started. I'm gonna jump out to go get a cord so that Gio doesn't jump out for good, because my battery's about to die. But go ahead and get started. I'll be back since we're live. Okay. Hey, if you didn't think we were live, we are definitely live. So I'll be right back.
Oh my God. Okay. The first hidden force that we're going to talk about, that honestly, when this came up, I said, oh, I wouldn't have even thought of this, but it's interesting that it's number 1. This silent killer is your cardiovascular diseases, and how this really impacts, or how we feel inside about ourselves is really affecting our true hearts. It is really an indicator of how much you love yourself, or how you're really taking care of yourself. Now, I do want to say this little caveat. I do understand that there are some people out there that will have a cardiovascular disease, that they're absolutely in love with themselves. They take good care of themselves. They could be a marathon runner. They could be the world's greatest eater and still have something wrong. I get that. This isn't a black and white situation. This is just saying in general, this is what's happening with people, but it's indication, because if your heart on the inside is not doing very well, that means that you're not really taking care of your body physically, which could be a very strong indicator that you're not mentally really vibrant and aware of, maybe say, outside pressures, internal pressures that you're putting on yourselves, and this day in and day out stress that you're giving, or you're putting on your own body. A lot of this in the research that I was looking at was pertaining to food, which I thought was really interesting, because obviously you are what you eat. We always hear that. And now we're also with you are what you think. So if you are what you eat and you're not eating the greatest things and you're not really taking care of yourself, then obviously you are going to have those heart issues. And some of the things that they were saying online, which I totally agree fits in right of what we say, is like you really have to tell yourself or change your mindset as to how you view food
Yeah.
and how you view your body, and that your body really is this physical space in which holds the inner you. And it's crazy how we put such an emphasis on the outer space of what do I look like? I mean, we think of all the things, changing our hair color all the time, what we look like, the wrinkles and all that kind of stuff, the putting on makeup all day long and clothes and bathing and all that kind of stuff, right? Outside, 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 outside. And then when it comes actually thinking on the inside, it's like, I don't have time for that. I don't have
That's,
time
I
to
mean,
think.
we could just finish the episode now. I mean, I think that in its own, it's like how we're not, it's the maintenance on the outside is so like what perception, what people think is important, but really what we can't see is the most important thing. And that's the one thing that people don't want to invest in is in themselves internally, like physically, emotionally, mentally. Um, and yeah, when you were doing this and I read through all of our notes, I did not think that this would be the first one. Like when I was going through everything, I'm like, oh my God.
I know, I would think of it on the list, but I love the practical side of it, and it's so easy, but yet so hard. And how many times do we talk to people? And when we all talk about, by the way, uh, for those of you that are younger, the older you get, it seems like you talk more and more about health issues and doctor appointments and all that stuff. And I remember being younger, hearing the same thing and going, "Are you kidding me?" But now I hear people, part of me is supposed to go, "I don't want to know," like stop it. But I don't care what age you are, the importance of maintaining your body and going to a doctor, and that can be holistic to someone who's very integrated in medicine. It does not matter as long as you understand your body, the changes that you're going through, and that you just keep up on like, what are the things that I could be doing to be the best version of myself inside and outside, which is
Yeah. Oh, number 2, the silent. This is like the silent one. The invisible enemy, self-doubt and breaking the cycle. I mean, I know this list is all going to be really hard, but we talk about this a lot, and especially because it's what we're dealing with ourselves. But this is like taking away how you make decisions, trusting yourself, and even taking actions. So the science behind this is your brain is wired to keep you safe, not successful. It perceives the change as a risk and it'll trigger doubt. So it's so important to really understand that self-doubt is really part of what we're doing to ourselves. And it's crazy because no one's ever having the conversation around like, "Oh, tell me your thoughts about self-doubt. Let's talk about those." No one's saying that. No one's having conversations about it. And we teach on the 5-5-5 method, but this is like just pausing for 5 seconds, not even 5 minutes. Again, the facts are here. This isn't a YGC thing. This is a scientific thing. So using a 5-second rule and counting from, and I think Mel also talks about this in her book, just like the pause in a different way, but counting backwards from 5 and then taking action before self-doubt creeps in. We call that pausing. Obviously, your affirmations and your I am statements. And I think it's important, and you put this too when we're talking about this. It's there's one thing to write them out, but it's also saying them to yourself. And I think a lot of people have a hard time hearing it
hearing
because
it.
it's like, oh, I'm doing my affirmations, I'm doing my I am statements, I'm starting my day with me, but it's also like, but are you hearing yourself or are you just doing the actions of the writing? And then there's that power of like looking at yourself in the mirror and talking to yourself, or even if it's recording, we tell our clients too, like record your voice, listen to you. So it's like so practical, but people don't even take the time to do that. And then obviously we love to surround ourselves with people, with amazing people. So people who reflect what's possible and not what's limited. And I think we had another episode on this, which is like sometimes relationships in your life need to end. And it's not a bad thing, but you need to like figure out what it is that you need and you want. And if you don't have those types of people in your life, I didn't mean to go to the other side. If you don't have those types of people in your life, you need to find them and surround yourself with them because it's so important that you, again, just like you are what you eat, this is the same thing. You are going to become the type of person you surround yourself with. And if it's a negative Neo, because we're gonna call negative Neo because I don't know any named Neo, all the time, or it's people that are like, oh, you can't do that, or oh, that's not possible. Like that's gonna be your belief system, and then you're gonna grow up thinking that anything that you want, or you're not even gonna grow up thinking anymore. You're just gonna just be doing. So sorry, that was a trigger. Triggered me a little, got a little hot.
All right. Woo, this might be my trigger. People pleasing, the people pleasing trap. I honestly, there's very few people that haven't experienced this trap. I just don't know how you can go through life and not have been like, oh, I think that was a moment where I was really just trying to do what the other person wanted and I got trapped into doing that. It is just as easy to say no as it is to say yes, meaning like it coming out of my mouth right now. It wasn't like all of a sudden this weird entity came by and like, wait, stop. You can't say no, but you can say yes. They're just words. They're absolutely neutral, but it's the feeling and the intention and the emotions that we put behind it that give us all the yeses and the nos. But for some reason, through our upbringings, through our culture, through our genders, we are trained and taught to, even the whole concept of nurturing. When you're nurturing, oh, I'm here for you, I'll be around, whatever you need, even if it's at the detriment to what I need.
Mm-hmm.
That's what we're trained and taught to do. I honestly think in any of these scenarios, the thing that you brought up earlier about pausing and just pausing, the 5-second rule, I understand the words 5-second rule, but I think the word rule, I'm giving it an emotion. Rules to me always go like, you feel like, oh, I'm going to break the rule, or I don't like rules. I like the word that we use, pause, because I think it's and I'll just say for me, it's easier if someone said, hey, just pause. I feel like my body goes, oh, thank you. Like it's like I give myself permission to just be in the moment and be like, okay, for all 5 of these.
Yeah. It takes like the weight off your shoulders. And it's again, it's the self-reflection and the allowing the time and allowing and giving. And again, even the sound of the word, it's like, oh, like you can just take a deep breath.
Yeah.
And this is a hard one. Like I feel like you said earlier, there's not many people that I don't know that aren't people pleasers, but it's even like when you realize you're a people pleaser and you're working on those boundaries and you're working on not doing that, it's still so hard for people to like, I'm like, no, we were working so hard on it. And they're like, I know, but I just feel so bad. I'm like, for who? Because I feel bad for you for being the people pleaser. And I'm like, who are you feeling bad for? And we've done tons of episodes of that. Like I love myself and I think I'm amazing, but I'm honestly, I'm not that important. I'm more important to say no for my being than to say yes and not be there 100%, or be in a state of mind that I don't want to be there, versus saying no and standing up for your boundaries, for what you want, what you need. And then that's teaching everybody else to do that. So I really do hope, I mean, this is a really good episode, but I really do hope people go back and I love the, I'm a visual person. So I think I'm going to make this like a really fun, reel with the 5, like popping, and then people can go read our notes too. I'm going to simplify them a little bit more, but just like practicalities on like, okay, what do I do now?
You know what, I'm going to have you add a challenge because in this, I think it'd be really good for people when it comes to just boundaries or saying no. Like, what are the top 3 boundaries that someone may have? Like, what if I said right now, what are 3 things that are just non-negotiables for Yvette? Like, Yvette has to have these things all the time. I'll just say for sure, 1 is sleep. I just learned that over the weekend. Oh my God. It's now getting to be like, it's so ingrained that I'm just like, no, like it's not going to happen. I do not like the way I feel. I don't like the way my brain works. Like everything about it is an absolute positive no. But so it's easy. The easy part, if you really think about it and take the time, is to come up with just 3 things that you know are non-negotiables.
Yep.
I think the more challenging part is then to every single day, even if you just assessed, did I allow anything, anyone, any entity, any circumstance to come into that boundary and change it into, even if it's a kind of sort of, it's still a yes if you spent a nanosecond in it, around it, passed it. If that was the boundary and you even went, whoop, whoop, nope, you passed over it. So it'd be really interesting to go, even though you think these are your boundaries, the 3 top that are so non-negotiables to you, like what if you died if something happened, right? To really go, well, how much of my day is really geared around not letting these things happen if these are my true non-negotiables?
Throw the phone and social media out there, and I know all of our clients and community are like, oh no, she didn't. But yes, I'm gonna throw it out there because that is a time sucker, an energy sucker. And again, going back, it just all the things we're talking about, it just creates this. So sleep for sure, and some sort of boundary with your phone. Because I mean, I'm not saying like don't have it all day, but like a cutoff time, or not going to bed or not waking up to it. Just that simple. So I know people are like, okay, Gio, it's simple. Number 4 is the inner critic, overcoming negative self-talk. So kind of goes back to what we talked about, the I am statements. I bet, I don't know the statistic on this, but it may be on here. Yes, it is. But the statistic on how many times we probably do say negative things out loud to ourselves, but we never say the good things out loud to ourselves. And you know, what's the loop that's going on in our head? So your thoughts obviously shape your reality, and it's constantly telling yourself you're either failing. So your brain will look for proof. So this is 80% of your thoughts are negative, and we repeat them daily. So they're on that loop. I would love to change this to 80% of your thoughts are positive and put them on a loop.
Okay. Well, remember we learned at in Haven, if 80% of our thoughts are negative, get this, 90 to 95% of our thoughts are the same every day. So if you're consistently having 80 plus thoughts a day that are negative, and you're just on repeat over and over and over, and you're not doing anything to change that, that is literally the definition of insanity that is leading you to insanity. And then I stop and I go, no wonder we all feel the way that we do, because that's just a negative spiral that just and it's almost like right now, this is weird, we are spinning, right? The world is spinning. Well, we don't know we are, because it's 24 hours in a day. Yes, we know that the sun and the moon come out, whatever, but none of us stops every day and goes, let me just sit here to watch the moon and the sun move. And I know that nobody does that. But it's the same thing in our lives. We don't take the time to just stop and go, how are we still spinning and spinning and spinning? And then because we don't do that, we just keep spinning and spinning and spinning. It's happening whether we recognize it or not.
Yeah. And when a negative thought arises, we're telling you to immediately say cancel. Say the word cancel and replace it with the truth. Because 9 out of 10, it's not even it's like, you're like, okay, why did I even go there? But we did this at Haven too, perception versus reality, and the mirror work. So look at yourself in the mirror, and this can go into with your I am affirmation, and say one kind thing every day. Doesn't matter, even if you're not doing it. I would love for it to be first thing in the morning, but every day, if you can just look at yourself in the mirror and say one kind thing, and then just keep on doing this over and over, because just like all the negative thoughts came in, it happened over time. We're just going to rewire it for all the positive. And then back to, who are you hanging out with and what are you feeding your mind? Because that's where the phone came in. It's like, okay, if you're telling me, Gio, I'm on the phone, first thing in the morning, because I have an affirmation app that helps me do guided journaling. And then the last thing I'm doing on my phone too is I'm closing out my day with the YGC journal, and I'm online. I'm like, that to me, yes, 100%. But if it's like, well, I got online to put my alarm on, and then when I was putting my alarm on, I saw a notification, and then I saw the notification, I went through the thing, and then at nighttime for some reason the algorithm is weird, and then it's like all these things. Then you went to bed like, I don't look like that, I don't feel like that, and now you're going to bed with these thoughts, and again, it's the looping of the circle of the 80% of all the negative thoughts. So imagine you're speaking to your younger self. What's one thing that you would say to yourself now? And now you can change the script. So you're telling you, I mean, even though it's not you in your younger ages, you can still flip the script, and you can still.
But let's just do that. What would you tell your younger? What would you tell? I'll start. Yes. The first thing that came to my brain, because I was like, we need just to share this. I would literally tell my, one, be more grateful. I put myself down so much back then, and now I look back and go, what were you putting yourself down for? Like, you had so much to be grateful for. You are and still are amazing. Like, that is like being grateful, and just knowing everything's going to work out. Everything's going to be okay.
Yeah.
I really had a hard time with like getting over like seeing past like, yes, that happened, but it's going to be okay. And not doing all the but. It's like, nope, there's no more buts.
I feel like I tell myself a million things, but I think the number one thing I would say is to listen to that inner voice and use the voice. Don't suppress it. Don't worry about what other people are going to think, because man, it would have been game changing. And sleep too, because we know when we were younger, it was like, oh, you sleep when you're dead. Like that. Oh, you can do all the things. I'm like, that ages you. That's scientific. I'm like, I really wish I would told my younger self, get those 8 to 10 hours. Who cares? Do it if that's what you want to do. But going back to my voice, because I do feel like I knew it and I was like, I can just be Geo, but
Yeah.
I didn't for such a long time.
Yeah.
And I do love that I think the younger generation is doing that a lot more.
Yeah.
Um,
I definitely think that they'll they may have all this insecurities and all that kind of stuff, but I feel like they try or they're more authentic to just be them. They may be trying to figure all that out, but I do feel like they're more authentic to who they truly starting to be more authentic to who they really truly are.
oh, and don't they embrace sleep? They embrace. I was like, well, maybe 12 hours is a little too much, but what do I know? I mean, right? I'm like, okay. I just did a NCL. I did an NCL group. I think they were 14 year olds. And we were talking about like societal pressures and setting boundaries and these things. And they're like, we don't care. I'm like, okay, well, you ain't wrong. Like it is a different time. But I mean, young people are still have struggles with creating boundaries, but it's different than when even I was 14, 15 than when you were 14, 15. It's like, and I love it because they aren't afraid to use their voice, and like, they are expressing themselves, even though it may not be like what us parents wanted. But I'm like, you know what? I'd rather hear my child tell me something and talk to me and tell me how they feel, versus the silent treatment, or
Mhm.
just not knowing. So
Yeah.
which ties into our last one.
Well, I feel like this one kind of wraps up all of it because I just don't feel like we really truly consciously are aware or make ourselves aware or keep making ourselves aware that so much of this pressure that we put on ourselves is coming from society. It's the world that we live in and the expectations that whoever they is has given us. And then I look at this and I go, it's marketing. It is everything that we see on our phones that come up. One, they're listening, right?
Mhm.
And so the algorithm now tells you, okay, great, you were scrolling for this, or you're talking about this. Now we're going to put it in your face. And then the things that they put in your face it's all to convince you that there's something that you need. There is a lack. So if you're lacking this, if you don't have the great, like, I don't know, whatever on your face, then you need to buy this product. If you don't feel this way, then take this product. I mean, or if you want to have the latest and greatest, and they make you feel like if you don't have these things, your value is not as great as the person next to you that does, right? That's all, that's materialism. And that is the creme de la creme of what do they call it? Like brands, like
Mhm.
name brands of like the status. I could buy this person couldn't. I'm walking around with this, you're not. And again, it's that feeling of, and don't get me wrong, there's some things that, yeah, it's because it serves a purpose, or they really are cool, or really is some leather, something that you can't get anywhere. So it's going to be more expensive. I get that there's very unique things, but most of marketing is to create a feeling and an emotion that you need or want something because you're lacking. And if you had this one thing, then your life would be so much better. That
And
is,
we're here to teach you to do that to yourself. Like, what tips and tricks and tools and resources can you do to help you feel fulfilled and validated, and that you are enough, so that you don't have to have this go on societal beliefs. And don't get me wrong, I mean, we all want to shop and we're all consumers, but it gets to the point of you are comparing yourself. Well, nobody should compare themselves to anybody else, because everyone's completely different. And that's not just like what moms say. That's like the truth. You as a person, and your characteristics, who you are on the inside. People want uniqueness. They want real. They want authentic. Nobody wants a copy and paste friend. Like, I don't want to be in a group of friends where everybody's the same. And I definitely wouldn't want to be in a group of people where it's like, like a copy, like every time I go out, it's the same thing over and over again. Like I would go insane. So just know that there's tricks and tools, but things that we can help you with. And then celebrating micro wins, which we keep on talking about that. I feel like that's been like a very big thing for us lately, is like all the little things. Even if they may seem silly, like right now we just upgraded to 200 hours of StreamYard. Great. That just means we're doing more things online and we need 200 hours. So I'm celebrating double hours on StreamYard, but it can be anything. It could be like, I mean, I always celebrate like just feeling refreshed in the morning when I get my 8 to 10 hours of sleep. That's a huge win, and some people just don't go through the day at all acknowledging that, but they do acknowledge all the negative things. So again, we're just trying to rewire. You're already doing it, but we're rewiring it a completely different way. And we will make sure that we put this, again, not just the replay of what we're talking about, but we're going to put a fun little reel together, put some tips that you can be doing at home on your own, or if you have someone in your life that just wants to do this with you, because I think this is also fun to do with a friend, with a partner. I mean, the more you make this, you normalize this, and this is crazy that I'm even saying that. This is so weird for people to be like, oh my God, I got to look at myself in the mirror. I got to say something nice to myself every day. I'm like, we need to normalize those things. That needs, we need to begin and end the day with ourselves.
Well, even if you just picked one thing, just pick one, because one of those, there's something in that list. If you're a human being and you're breathing and you have feelings, thoughts, and emotions, one of these things we're like, oh yeah. I mean, I don't think anybody's perfect. So there's got to be something, even if you're not aware of it, even if it's just once in a while, it doesn't matter. But you can take the one thing and use that as your challenge. I like what you said, find a friend and hold each other accountable as far as like, hey, just every single day, just this one thing. I'm going to like, did I pause? Am I understanding what this is doing to me? And then did I take an action step to change it? Oh, look, There's our quote. You want me to read it?
Yeah, you can read it.
Okay. The moment you stop letting self-sabotage dictate your worth, you unlock the power to transform your life. Self-love isn't a destination. It's the foundation of everything you're capable of becoming.
Oh, I love that.
I love that too.
Oh, such a great episode. We weren't together. We were supposed to be together, but things change. But it was great having you on the other screen and our slides working. We hope everyone enjoyed today. We'll have some amazing follow-up. If you're going to come see us tomorrow night, if you're watching this live and you see us tomorrow night, we're actually going to talk about some of this stuff while we're on panel. Embracing you. Like we really, again, we want to normalize that relationship with self. It's not just a YGC thing anymore. It's definitely needed, and especially for women. So we're here to help you take that relationship one step further, and we'll be back again next week with another amazing episode. And if there's anything you need from us before, wherever you're watching, there's a link to click for a virtual consultation if you want to jump on with us, or if you just want to go to our website. We have tons of tools and resources, and so we're just here to serve you. Until next week. Bye. Bye. Thank you for tuning in to Season 5 of Redesigning Your Relationships Podcast. If you're listening on Spotify, don't forget to check out the poll feature and share your thoughts with us. If you're watching on YouTube, be sure to subscribe to our channel and leave a comment. We'd love to hear from you.
Follow us on social media for even more relationship insights and updates on what's coming next. Until then, remember, you have the power to design relationships that bring you joy, growth, and fulfillment into your life. See you next week.